Welcome back to another episode of Real with Ryan. In today's video, I'm going to show you how I've made my first $10,000 through content, where that money is coming from, and give you a few tips if you're trying to do the same. I just recorded a full-length video on where the YouTube ad revenue is coming from if you want to view that, and I'm about to create a video where I'll actually pay my Instagram followers for doing challenges on my Instagram stories, so feel free to follow my Instagram. Let me start with where my content creation journey began. During 2020, I started creating content a little bit more seriously when I was stuck at home due to the pandemic. I created a YouTube channel, a TikTok, and a podcast, which allowed me to fight some boredom at home, but I actually found a lot of purpose and meaning creating content. So in a little over 3.5 years, I've built up a relatively small following on a handful of different socials. So let me take a moment and break down where my content is being created and some of the metrics accordingly. Let's start off with my Instagram. On my Instagram, I have 12.6 thousand followers, and Instagram acts as my primary home base for content creation and spreading the content that I create. It's where I'm most active on my stories, it's where I post about new videos and podcasts, and it's also where I interact most closely with my fans. Instagram doesn't really pay much revenue directly. I have been able to land a handful of brand deals where I'll post to my feed or my stories to sponsor a product. I'll also take a moment and mention my Facebook here, since I do have 13,000 Facebook followers. And recently, Facebook actually has monetized their shorts, so I get a little bit of money for the Facebook shorts I post. Most of the times, I post things onto my Instagram, and then I just simply take those posts and paste them over to Facebook, as Instagram's my primary platform. I also have a TikTok account, which has been a driving factor in my content creation. I have just short of 100,000 followers, so feel free to check out my TikTok and give it a follow. And this is where I started posting the majority of the content during 2020 pandemic. I've made hundreds of short videos on TikToks and even had one video go mega viral, getting 17.5 million views in over 1,500 days of watch time. TikTok was where my content first got a little bit of traction, and it really opened up the door to further growth, monetization, and revenue further down the line, even though TikTok pays relatively little amounts now. I then also created a YouTube channel, which now has 1.7K subscribers. I've created over 116 full-length videos, which have generated about 220,000 views. My YouTube channel is where I focus most of my efforts around content creation, as I get to spend a little bit more time and energy and thought creating something full-length that I usually feel really good about. And I did get monetized in March, so I'm now making some revenue based off of those views. I also created a podcast called Real with Ryan that you can find anywhere you listen to podcasts, and I created almost 100 podcast episodes. While there's not much money or monetization behind the podcast itself, it was a really good outlet for me to just think deeply and have fun creating audio form content during the pandemic. And last but not least, I do have a LinkedIn, a Threads account, and a Twitter or X. But these platforms are a little bit more secondary and a little bit more of a formality. I'll post some stuff there every now and then, but I don't really have a huge focus on those platforms. Now that you have a better view of the content I've created and on which platforms, let me break down the total revenue numbers and how I've leveraged that content to generate over $10,000. Let me start with TikTok because that's where I made my first dollars through content. In late early 2021, I had my first handful of videos go viral, which allowed me to cross 10,000 followers and join the TikTok Creator Fund program. This allowed me to get paid based off of the amount of views my TikToks were generating. And this pay-per-view business model is what's showing up across a lot of these different types of platforms to pay content creators based off the amount of views and time people are watching their videos. This is the default revenue stream for most content creators and is kind of baked into most of these social media platforms. While I was getting paid relatively little through TikTok, I did have a season of high virality where I was generating a lot of views in videos and getting paid for those views. This was the first time I ever got paid for creating content, so I was obsessed. I even went so far as to manually tracking how much I was making every single day in Excel. Overall, I've made just over $900 from TikTok views directly, and most of that came through about a 6 or 8 month window where I was making fairly viral videos pretty consistently. These days, I make almost nothing from TikTok views themselves. But even though TikTok didn't pay me a ton for those views, it did allow me to secure my very first brand deal. When I had a few viral videos and passed around 10,000 followers, I figured I could start reaching out to companies and see if anyone would be willing to sponsor a video. I was creating dog training content at that time, so I decided to reach out to about 20 to 30 different dog-related companies and got shot down by every single one except for a company called Pet Plate. They became my first brand partner, and they would send me free dog food every single month in exchange for one TikTok video. While they didn't pay me any sort of cash compensation, being able to get expensive dog food for free was so amazing for me at the time, and I was absolutely hooked. After finishing that deal with Pet Plate, I got around 10 more brand deals over the coming months through people reaching out through DMs, email, etc., until I discovered a service that would change the game for securing brand deals. But before I talk about that service, let me highlight a couple of the other revenue streams. So I mentioned I made $900 from TikTok views. I've also made about $670 from YouTube views since my channel was monetized in March. About 660 of those dollars come from views on my full-length YouTube videos, and only about $8 comes from the YouTube Shorts. You can check out the full-length video I just released breaking down how the YouTube monetization works and a breakdown of my videos and how they're generating income. I'll also mention that I've made about $50 from Facebook Shorts directly, which is a relatively small amount, but it is something. But you might be asking, that only makes up around $1,500 or so in revenue, so where does the rest come from? And the answer is brand deals, user-generated content, and a service called Collabster. I am not sponsored by Collabster, but Collabster is a platform that connects content creators with brands, and it's helped me get more brand deals so I can focus more on creating the content instead of reaching out to companies trying to secure deals. There's a few key features that Collabster helps out with besides just connecting you to brand deals. It helps you create packages and price your content, as well as it allows you to have a portfolio of projects and ratings and reviews so different brand deals can see the types of content you create, the various pricing and packages, as well as see the good work you've done with past clients. This combination of features has allowed me to steadily increase my price for brand deals, deliver really good results, and handle some of the trickier components of brand deals such as contracts and getting paid. Over the last couple of years of doing brand deals, about half of those deals have come through Collabster. They take about a 15% cut from every single brand deal that you do, so there is definitely a cost. If you want to check out Collabster for yourself, I do have a referral link in the bio below. This gives you $10 off your first deal, and it would pay me $20, which I promise I'll put towards future videos and content. But let's pop the hood and dive a little bit deeper into some of these brand deals in UGC that's generated most of the revenue I've made. Over the past 3 years, I have done 67 brand deals, which has resulted in about $8.7 thousand in revenue. I've worked with tons of different clients and a few notable ones including Ridge Wallet, PS Condoms, and more dog brands than I can even remember. About 21 of those brand deals have been sponsored TikTok posts where I'll post a video to my TikTok account sponsoring and featuring their product. About 11 of those brand deals have been Instagram posts or content in various capacities. But most surprisingly, 30 of my deals, worth about $3.8K, comes from what's called UGC or user-generated content, and was a category of work and content I didn't even know about before doing them. UGC can be a lot of different things, but essentially it's a organic short form video made about a product from the perspective of a user. These types of videos can be used on the brand's social media directly, but they can also be used in paid advertising campaigns, such as the ads you might see on a YouTube video or Facebook short. But they even can be used on an Amazon listing page or even that brand's website to showcase the product. I honestly couldn't believe how many brands were reaching out to me to create a relatively quick and organic video showcasing their product that they didn't even need me to post on my own social media. But I am super excited about the progress I've been able to make through content over the last 3 years and wanted to thank you for watching this video, as I couldn't have made it happen without you, the viewer. If you'd consider giving this video a thumbs up or a subscription, it means a ton to me on my journey of becoming a full-time content creator. And like I mentioned, I'm about to do an Instagram challenge where I'll actually pay you to do various different challenges through my Instagram stories. But thank you so much for watching, and as always, thank you for keeping it real with Ryan.